Hi there, John here from OntarioMortgageDeals.com. What I want to talk about today is home ownership, especially when it comes to young people. Obviously it's everybody's dream to own their own home, but for young people who are renting or maybe living with their parents still, how do they know when they are able to move out of that rental unit or their parents' house and afford a mortgage? Let's take a look at some helpful tips. My first piece of advice is to save and imitate. That is, if you're still living at home with your parents or with somebody else rent-free, find out what your typical mortgage payment would be, including maintenance fees, home insurance, things of that nature, and then save that amount. If you can imitate this pattern for up to a year, 6 months, something like that, it's a pretty good sign that you're ready to afford a mortgage. Keep in mind though that you should also be able to have your day-to-day expenses taken care of as well. So if you can only save your mortgage amount and have nothing left, you probably aren't ready for a mortgage yet, or you need a lesser amount. If you're renting a unit, the best thing you can do is to save the difference between your rental payment and your mortgage, if your mortgage amount would be greater, and set that aside every month. This as well will let you know that you're ready to get into a mortgage. Okay, so you're going to save an amount of money every month and imitate paying your mortgage. That's great. What do you do with the money you saved though? My advice is to look for a very safe investment vehicle. These are things like tax-free savings accounts, high-interest savings accounts, or even some GICs. Just make sure they're safe. The last thing you want is for all your money you've set aside to be washed away in the market. If you do this for 6 months to a year, or whatever term you've chosen to save for, you should have some great profits set away for a down payment towards your house. The final thing I want to talk about today is your down payment. Once you've set all this money aside and have it saved up, you're ready to look into your down payment. A misconception is that you need 20% of the purchase price of a property for a down payment. CMHC recently reported that over 50% of the mortgages in Canada this year were insured. That means that over 50% of the mortgages in Canada had less than a 20% down payment. Typically, most mortgages I deal with young people have a 5% down payment. 5% is a not hard amount to save as opposed to 20%. The best thing about using a mortgage broker, and one of the great things that we do, is develop creative ways to find people mortgages. No matter what your situation in terms of a down payment, don't hesitate to contact me and we can work something out for you. One final thing I want to point out is the closing costs of a purchase. It's one thing to have $10,000 set away as 5% of $200,000 for your mortgage. However, look at 1.5% of that amount as well to be put aside for closing costs. Lenders will also look at this too. If you don't have that money as well as your 5% for your down payment, it could be tough getting the mortgage. So keep that in mind as well. I'll attach a link to the post I previously did on closing costs so you can get a better idea of what those look like. Hopefully what we've talked about today makes sense to you. It's a great way to get yourself ready to buy your first home, and it's great for all young home buyers. Thank you.